My wife said, "You'll always be the one," but her weekend getaway plans with him told me differently. I heard the words, felt her hand gently squeeze mine as she said them, and yet all I could focus on was the flicker of her phone screen under the kitchen table. She hadn't meant to leave it unlocked, I'm sure of that. But I saw it anyway, a name that made my stomach twist. Alex, and a message that popped up as she reached for her coffee mug. "Can't wait for our weekend getaway. I've been looking forward to this for a while." I froze. My mouth went dry, and for a moment, I could have sworn the room tilted sideways. She caught me staring at the phone, and in an instant, I saw her expression change. The small, easy smile she had on her face melted, replaced by a thin line of worry across her forehead. "Jared," her voice was tentative, like she was trying to figure out how to explain something I hadn't asked yet. But I didn't need to ask. The message had been enough. The words were like daggers, and they went straight to my heart. "You're going away this weekend?" I asked, my voice cracking before I could stop it. I don't even know why I asked. I already knew the answer. Her eyes darted away from mine, and she let out a shaky breath. "Jared, it's not what you think. It's just a quick weekend trip. I told you about it, remember? I didn't think you'd mind, but I did mind. I didn't know about it." I had never heard about a weekend getaway with Alex, not once. So many questions hit me all at once, like a tidal wave crashing over me. Who was he, really? What was going on here? Why wasn't I part of this conversation? I sat back in my chair, the shock of it all seeping through me. "Just a trip? Just you and him?" I asked, but it didn't feel like I was asking. It felt more like I was trying to convince myself that I wasn't actually hearing her correctly. "Jared, please." She started, but I couldn't listen to her anymore. My heart was pounding so loud that it drowned out the sound of her voice. I couldn't breathe. I had spent years with her, years where we built something real, something I thought was unbreakable. And yet, here she was planning a weekend getaway with someone else, someone who wasn't me. "Why didn't you tell me about him?" I managed to get out, though the words were like gravel in my throat. "I didn't think it mattered," she said quickly, but I could see the panic creeping in. Her eyes shifted, a flicker of guilt crossing her face before she masked it with a forced calmness. "It's not like that, Jared. He's just a friend. It's nothing. It's just a trip, for some time away." Her words were smooth, rehearsed, but they didn't match the tightness in her voice or the way her hands fidgeted with her mug. I had known her long enough to know when she was lying, when she wasn't telling me the whole truth. And right now, it was as clear as day. She was hiding something. My mind raced. I had to say something. "So what? You're just going to spend the weekend with him? After all this time? After everything?" I didn't even know what I was asking anymore. I just needed to make sense of this. Needed her to explain it away, to tell me it was just an innocent trip. But she didn't. She just looked at me, unable to form the words to defend herself. I could see it now, the crack in our foundation. This wasn't the same marriage I thought we had. This wasn't the partnership I had signed up for. She stood up suddenly, her face flushed with a mix of guilt and frustration. "It's not like that, Jared. You need to trust me. Please," she whispered, but her eyes were far from pleading. They were filled with an emotion I couldn't read. Guilt? Defensiveness? I wasn't sure. And in that moment, I realized something I'd been ignoring for months. Our marriage was slipping through my fingers. She didn't even need to be lying to me. She could be telling me the truth, and still, I wouldn't feel secure anymore. I wouldn't feel like the person she loved. She had already chosen to keep things from me, to make plans without me. I wasn't part of her life in the way I thought I was. "Jared, please. Let me explain," she said, her voice quivering. I shook my head, standing up slowly, trying to keep the tears at bay, though it felt like I was suffocating. "I don't think you can explain this." I could see her face drop on my words. She opened her mouth to say something else, but I didn't wait. I turned away from her, my head spinning, the taste of bile rising in my throat. I couldn't stay in that kitchen any longer. I couldn't stay in that space with her anymore. I needed air. I needed space to think. I needed to stop this feeling from swallowing me whole. But it didn't stop. The shock kept gnawing at me as I paced outside, walking up and down the block, the world around me blurring with every step. How could this have happened? How could I have been so blind? How long had she been planning this? And why was I only just finding out? The cool evening air bit at my skin, but I hardly noticed. My mind was on fire. I needed to know the truth. And yet, deep down, I already knew it. Something had shifted between us, and she wasn't coming back. Not like this. I pulled my phone out of my pocket, staring at the screen for a moment before typing out the only message I knew I had to send. I saw the message, Emma. I don't know what's going on, but I can't keep pretending. I need the truth. I need you to tell me what's really happening. I hit send before I could second-guess myself. And I waited. Part 2. It didn't take long for her to reply. The phone buzzed in my hand, but I didn't rush to look at it. Instead, I stood there in the middle of the sidewalk, staring at the ground, trying to breathe through the lump in my throat. When I finally opened the message, it was short. Too short. We'll talk when I get home. Please don't make this harder. Her words stung, but it was the please don't make this harder part that hit me the most. It felt like she was already checking out of this conversation, already bracing for the end. There was no I love you, no reassurance. Just a promise to explain later, like she couldn't even face me right now. I stood there for a while, my hand gripping the phone so tight that my knuckles ached. I wanted to throw it. I wanted to walk away from the whole thing. But I didn't. Instead, I typed something back, then deleted it. Typed something else, then erased that too. I wasn't sure what I was supposed to say anymore. She had to know, didn't she? She had to know that I wasn't just asking about her trip with Alex. I wasn't just confused about the weekend getaway. I was questioning everything. All the little lies that had built up between us. All the small moments where I felt like I was in the dark about her life, about where I stood in it. I ended up texting her something simple. I'm not waiting anymore, Emma. After that, I put the phone away and walked back inside, feeling like I was walking into a storm. I didn't know if I wanted to be there when she came home. I didn't know if I could stand to be around her anymore. Not after everything that had happened. Not after the gut punch of seeing her plans with him. The apartment felt different now. The walls felt smaller, the air thicker. Even the kitchen, the same kitchen where we'd sat together every morning, sharing coffee, making stupid jokes, felt like it was closing in on me. My stomach churned as I looked around, like everything was a reminder of how much had changed. When Emma finally came in, her footsteps echoed down the hall. I stayed sitting on the couch, my body stiff, eyes locked on the TV, though I wasn't really watching it. I was waiting for her to speak. She didn't say anything at first. She stood by the door for a second, her coat still on, her hands shaking slightly as she looked down at the floor. There was a silence between us that felt like an eternity. I could hear my pulse in my ears. She wasn't even looking at me. Finally, she spoke, her voice soft but heavy with something, guilt, maybe? Jared, she began, and I could tell she was trying to steady herself. I never meant for you to find out this way. I didn't respond right away. I didn't know what to say. The words didn't feel real, didn't feel like they were enough to explain everything I was feeling. So instead of answering her, I turned toward her. My eyes were locked on hers. Try to read her, trying to make sense of everything. You never meant for me to find out. I repeated her words, my voice shaky. Is that it, Emma? Because it kind of feels like you've been lying to me. Not just about this weekend. About everything. She flinched at the words, but I didn't take them back. I couldn't. The truth had been sitting there for so long, like a festering wound that neither of us had been brave enough to face. I wasn't lying, she said quickly, but her voice cracked, and I saw the tears brimming in her eyes. I didn't want to hurt you. I didn't want to hurt us. But it's been going on for a while, and I didn't know how to end it. End it. The word felt like a slap. You're talking about your relationship with him, aren't you? This isn't just some friend situation, is it? It's not just some weekend trip. You're involved with him, Emma. I can see it. I felt it. I couldn't hide the frustration anymore. It poured out of me, like the words had been stuck in my throat for months. What happened to us? What happened to the things you used to say? The way we used to be? Where's that gone? I didn't plan this, Jared, she whispered, taking a step toward me. Her eyes searched mine, but I couldn't look at her. I couldn't let her see how broken I felt. Then why didn't you tell me? I shot back, voice rising. Why didn't you come to me when things started to fall apart? Why didn't you say anything when you knew you were pulling away?" Her lips trembled, and she wiped her eyes, trying to steady herself. "Because I didn't know. I didn't know how to say it. I didn't know how to tell you that things had changed, that I had changed, that I wasn't the same person anymore, that the things I thought I wanted, they aren't the things I need now. And it's not fair to you. It's not fair to keep pretending, to keep lying to you." Her voice broke at the last part, and I saw the rawness of it, the exhaustion, the emotional toll. But I couldn't find it in me to comfort her. I couldn't even process her words. I couldn't ignore the fact that she had been planning a weekend away with someone else, someone who wasn't me. "I can't do this anymore, Emma," I said, standing up. My legs felt weak, but I forced myself to stay standing. "I don't know who you are anymore. I don't know who we are anymore." She opened her mouth like she was going to say something, but then stopped herself. Her eyes seemed to soften, just for a moment, before she looked away. "I never wanted it to end this way," she said quietly. "But I don't know how to fix it. I don't know how to make it right." I shook my head. "I don't think you can. I don't think we can fix it." The silence that followed was suffocating. The distance between us felt like a canyon. I could see it in her eyes. She wasn't going to fight for us anymore. She wasn't going to fight for me. She had already made her choice. She reached for her bag by the door. "I'll leave," she said, her voice low. "I'll go stay with Alex for the weekend. I need space, Jared. I think we both do." She didn't wait for me to answer. She didn't wait for me to say anything. She just left. The door closed behind her with a soft click, and I stood there in the middle of our apartment, the silence echoing around me. I don't know how long I stood there before I moved. All I knew was that she was gone, and the life I thought we had, it was gone too.